A whisper can be more powerful than a sword. A single sentence, spoken in a dark cave or scrawled on parchment, can topple an empire where 1,000 armies failed. Is it magic? Is it a glimpse into the loom of fate? Or is it something far more dangerous? The power of an idea that, once spoken, refuses to be ignored. We believe history is a chain of cause and effect, of iron and will. But look closer, into the shadows between the lines of our chronicles, and you will find moments where the chain was broken, or perhaps where it was forged by an unseen hand. Today, we open the case files on 4 such moments, 4 prophecies that didn't just predict the future, they seized it by the throat and bent it to their will. Number 1. The Oracle's Double-Edged Sword. Imagine you are Croesus, king of Lydia. You are, without exaggeration, the richest man in the known world. The very concept of coinage is your gift to civilization. Gold is not a treasure to you. It is a tide that obeys your command. And now you stand on the precipice of a great war. You wish to conquer the rising Persian Empire, a feat that would make you a legend for all time. But even a king weighted down with gold must bow to the gods. You send envoys on the long journey to the sacred heart of the world, to Delphi. There, in a chamber filled with intoxicating fumes, a priestess, the Pythia, channels the voice of Apollo himself. Your question is simple. Should I wage war on Persia? The answer returns, carried on the lips of your trembling messengers. And it is everything you hoped for. The oracle has spoken. If you cross the Halys River, a great empire will be destroyed. The words ring in your ears like a trumpet call to glory. You can feel the future solidifying beneath your feet. You see the Persian banners falling, their cities in flames, their king kneeling before you. The gods have given you their blessing. So you gather your armies, your golden chariots blinding in the sun, and you cross the river. The war is brutal, costly, and in the end, a catastrophe. Your army is shattered. Your capital is sacked. You are captured, a king in chains, brought before the very man you sought to conquer, Cyrus the Great. As you stand before the pyre meant for your execution, you finally understand the riddle. A great empire was destroyed. It was yours. The prophecy was not a lie. It was a mirror, reflecting the one thing your gold could not buy and your power could not conquer, your own hubris. The oracle did not tell you your future. It revealed your nature, and it was your nature, your arrogant certainty that the gods spoke only for you, that led you to ruin. The pact with fate was sealed not by the oracle's words, but by your own interpretation of them. Number 2. The name whispered across time. Let us now travel forward a few decades, to the weeping heart of a fallen kingdom. The people of Judah are exiles, captives in the magnificent, decadent city of Babylon. Their holy temple, the dwelling place of their God, is a pile of rubble hundreds of miles away. Hope is a dying ember. Their prophets had warned of this doom, but what prophecy could possibly bring them back from this living death? But there was one, a scroll written a century before the fall of Jerusalem by the prophet Isaiah. In it, he did not just promise a savior. He did not just describe a liberator. He gave a name that, at the time, meant nothing. The name of a man not yet born, from a people considered little more than mountain barbarians. The scroll read that a man named Cyrus would be the Lord's anointed, that he would subdue nations, and that he would say to Jerusalem, "Be built," and to the temple, "Your foundation shall be laid." Imagine the desperate faith it took to cling to that, to believe that a specific named pagan king would be the instrument of your God's will. And then, history awakens. A man named Cyrus rises in Persia. He forges an empire that devours the Medes, the Lydians, and finally, the seemingly invincible Babylon itself. And upon his conquest, he does something utterly without precedent. He issues a decree. The Jewish people are not only free to go, but they are to be given the resources to return to their homeland and rebuild their sacred temple. The prophecy in every detail came to pass, but this raises a deeper question. Was this the hand of God writing history in advance? Or did the prophecy itself become an actor on the stage? The story of Isaiah's prediction was well known among the Jewish exiles who became influential advisors in the Persian court. Did they present this ancient scroll to the new conqueror, showing him that his destiny, his very name, was entwined with the fate of their people? Did they hand a mortal king a divine mandate? The prophecy may not have just predicted the future. It may have handed Cyrus the script, offering him a role of benevolent messiah in a cosmic drama. A promise written on a scroll became an instrument of state policy. Number 3. The Century of Fire. We now move to a darker, more ambiguous age, the 16th century. A French physician, Michel de Nostradam, lives in a world racked by plague, religious war, and political chaos. He looks at the madness of his time and sees a pattern, a rhythm of destruction he believes will echo through the centuries to come. He writes them down in cryptic, 4-line poems called quatrains. For hundreds of years they are the domain of mystics and scholars, obscure, vague. But then came the 20th century, an age of horror so profound it seemed to defy all human explanation. And in the wreckage, people began to search for answers, not in history books, but in these strange old prophecies. They found a quatrain that spoke of a great famine and saw the engineered starvation in the Soviet Union. They found another that spoke of the great city being struck by iron birds and saw the Blitz. But one, above all, made the blood run cold. It speaks of a child born to poor people in the west of Europe, one who, by his tongue, will seduce a great troop. It says his fame will grow, especially towards the realm of the East. And then it gives a strange, almost name for this figure, Hister. Hister was an ancient name for the Danube River, a geographical footnote. But to a world reeling from the rise of Adolf Hitler, born in Austria near that very river, the similarity was no coincidence. Here was the Austrian corporal who seduced a nation with his voice. Here was the man whose fame and armies marched towards the east in a war of annihilation. The power of Nostradamus was never in perfect clarity. His words are smoke. The power lies in us, in our desperate need to believe that our greatest horrors are not random acts of chaos, but part of some terrible pre-written design. Nostradamus did not cause the Second World War, but his prophecies became a dark lens through which humanity tried to comprehend it. It wasn't a warning they heeded. It was an epitaph they read after the world had already burned. Number 4. The Tomb and the Terrible Invader. Our final case takes us to a single fateful 48-hour period in 1941. In the ancient city of Samarkand, a team of Soviet anthropologists stands before a slab of black jade. It is the tomb of Timur, the 14th century conqueror known to the West as Tamerlane, a man whose cruelty and military genius were legendary. The Soviet state is officially atheist. They have no time for superstition. But the local Uzbeks, the descendants of Timur's people, whisper warnings. They speak of the inscriptions on the tomb, of a curse known for centuries. It is simple, and it is absolute. Who opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I. The scientists scoff. They are men of reason, of historical materialism. On June 20th, 1941, with the grinding sound of stone on stone, they open the sarcophagus. Inside they find the skeleton of the lame conqueror. They have their scientific prize. The curse is just a ghost story. The silence that followed was heavier than any mountain. 2 days later, Sunday, June 22nd. Before dawn, without a declaration of war, Adolf Hitler unleashes Operation Barbarossa. Over 3 million soldiers, the largest invading force in the history of warfare, storm across the Soviet border. An apocalypse of fire and steel descends upon a nation completely unprepared. An invader more terrible than Timur had been unleashed. Was it a coincidence? A chilling alignment of the stars? Perhaps. But the story does not end there. As the German war machine drove deeper into Russia, leaving millions dead in its wake, a terrified Joseph Stalin, the man of steel, the arch-rationalist, gave a desperate order. He commanded that the remains of Timur be flown to the front lines at Stalingrad. He ordered the conqueror reinterred in his tomb in Samarkand with full Islamic rites. Stalin, the destroyer of churches and mosques, turned to the very superstition his regime sought to extinguish. He needed to put the ghost back in the machine. He needed to undo the curse. In the face of annihilation, the prophecy had become more real than the war itself. It provided a reason for the unthinkable and a ritual for salvation. So what does this tell us? These 4 whispers from eternity, a riddle to a king, a name for a liberator, a dark verse for a dictator, a curse for a conqueror. They were not passive glimpses of a fixed future. They were catalysts. They preyed on pride, offered a mandate, gave shape to chaos, and became a source of terrifying power. The future is not a destination we arrive at. It is a story we tell ourselves. And the most powerful prophecies are not those that show us the inevitable path, but those that force us to choose which path to walk. They hold up a mirror, and in it, we see not our fate, but our character. And that choice, made in the face of a whisper from the gods, is what truly changes the course of history.